Hey, what's up? You and I just booked our first call together. I'm really excited. This is like our first date, and super stoked because what I'm about to show you here in a second is pretty much how you booked a call with me, how I've been booking calls from tens of thousands of DMs over my career, how we've got people closing deals in DMs, and we're doing it in a way that's not salesy. It's not weird. It's natural because what it is, it's called the social selling system. All right. The key word here is social. Human beings were naturally wired to be social, but the issue comes when we're being bombarded with messages, we're being bombarded with content, and it's not social. It's antisocial. People don't want to communicate with robots. They don't want to communicate with people that don't really care about them. And now there's a lot of psychology behind all this. I mean, the you being on this call now, there's probably psychology that kind of went under your radar that even got you this far. All right. Now I'm not saying that, to say that I persuaded you or anything, but there's a lot of things that we're doing that I want to give to you so that you can do this with your clients and get them into the door, get them into your calls, into your communities. So you're probably at a place now where you don't want to spend all day sending DMs and having conversations that go nowhere because you're building rapport and you're talking about the weather and or and you also don't want to go cold pitch everybody and make them angry because you have a brand to build, and a brand is built based off of the perception that people have of you. And if the perception that people have of you is, hey, you sent out 10,000 cold DMs with a link to buy something, they're not that's what they're going to think of you, and they're not going to want to re-engage with you or talk to you anymore because that opportunity's been closed because they feel like they're going to be sold. So everything that I'm going to walk you through here, and I'm going to give you some proof that this works so that you're not you're not like, okay, it sounds great, but how? I get it. So I'm going to flip the camera here and I'm going to show you some results that not just me, but a lot of my students over the years, I've had over 300 students go through this. We've only had 2 refunds. It was from people that didn't even go through the course. So I'm going to show you how this whole process works, and show you kind of A to Z of the different industries, the different markets, the different strategies that you can use to make this system work for you. Now, if you look here, John, this is from a cold DM. Okay, a cold message on LinkedIn. On the first call, he had built so much trust in the DMs that he closed a $60,000 deal outbound. Okay, now below this video, you can actually just watch this yourself, just to get kind of an idea. But also, I'll give another star student. This is Steph, amazing student. She was able to close $20,000, and she skipped the whole sales call altogether. Well, how did she do this? Was because she's asking the right questions and she's being efficient, okay? And she's not asking irrelevant questions. And she's built up such a brand and such a reputation, so much proof in her Facebook groups and on her social media that 20,000 in cash over a DM isn't that hard for her, all right? So I'll keep going. Now you can see, I mean, the list just goes on and on. Like if you just want to scroll down, like there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonials from people that use the social selling system. Liberty, she was able to hit a $18,500 month, and actually in 2 weeks. So it wasn't even her month. But I mean, you can just see that, and she didn't even have a business barely before. I think she was making about $3,000. So a lot of people, and you can just keep going, like really scroll through this stuff. I mean, tons and tons and tons of wins, all the way from seven-figure businesses all the way down to people just starting out. So it really works for anybody. You don't have to have a big brand, you don't have to have any of these things. It's really just knowing what to say and making yourself stand out in the marketplace. Now, all this sounds good, but nothing, like everything in business is data. So you have to have data, you have to have your tracking in place. So we can actually change, and almost like a chameleon, change up our strategy based on how based on how the data looks. Okay, so the way that we train on DMing specifically, in learning the skill and the mastery behind this, is really drilling on very specific data points. I'm going to give you an example. So say you wanted to work with us. What we would do, the first thing we would do is we would give you this dashboard. Okay, so this software, we would plug it in. It's already built out, and we'd plug your numbers into this, and we'd get really, really, really specific on your DMs, your conversations. Now, this is all sample data that I just kind of threw in here, so it's not real. But basically, this is how it would look. Now, obviously, if you had a 4% conversation rate, it doesn't really matter what you're doing down here because you're not getting enough conversations and you're not efficient. So we would change up the intro messages. We would change up your approach. We would even change up who you're talking to. And there's a lot of different training aspects that we would add into this, but moving them through to where all these numbers are high up to where we can actually reverse engineer all your cash goals all the way down to what you need to send in DMs. On top of that, what we're looking at is all these numbers, getting it down to the science, all right? Meaningful conversations per closed deal, new DMs per close, all right? Cash per DM, you name it. And something else that we do that nobody else does is we're actually tracking your time. So I want to get it to the point where you only need to work a few hours a day and still be able to hit your goals because you're that effective. You just send a few DMs, they book, it works, and they close, and you're off to the races. But the way that we do that is we have to get all these time metrics, and you just a quick journal at the end of the day gets all this together, and it will actually be able to see how much cash per hour you produce and your team produces in your company. So I'm really stoked for you because you're the type of person that's focused on mastering skills. You're not trying to go out there and have somebody do it for you. You're not looking for shortcuts. You're looking for an effective process to where you are now the master of that skill, leading everybody around you, every appointment setter, every closer, to wanting to work with you because your stats are so laser sharp. Your shit looks so good. And they're just going to be like, I need to work with that person. And you're going to be able to outsource way more effectively. And it's cool too because you're congruent. You're congruent because, like, for example, if you're trying to book calls and you're getting a no-show rate, you book a call with somebody else and you don't show for them, that's the big reason. You have no way to handle certain objections. Now, being on this call, being with me, you're solving the problem, you're going through the process yourself, and you're seeing how it all works. That's what's going to move the needle forward because now you are now the person that is congruent. You go through processes, and now you can create processes. All right. So I'm really stoked to talk with you. I'm stoked to be a part of your universe and to help you build something effective. And I know we're going to move the needle on this. All right. I will see you very, very soon. Peace.